Hi, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Living with Megs. As always, it is so great to have you here back for a moment of connection with me. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope that the start of your week has been so beautiful and nothing but the best. I hope that your weekend was fulfilling and that you learned something new, that you were able to experience something incredible with the people around you whom you love. And I hope that you had some time to relax and wind down because I know sometimes the weekend can be a little hectic, but it's also important to take care of ourselves and just renew and refresh and all of that good stuff for another week ahead. It has been so incredibly beautiful the past week. I am relishing in it. I think everyone here is. I'm appreciating the sun when we have it. It is just unmatched, I feel, when we do get this type of weather, especially at this time. Everyone has been so merry and bright, honestly, all day today. I've had so many incredible experiences today. I'm recording this on the Saturday, and I had a great morning. I started off going to the gym very early. I'm not really sure why I chose to do that. I literally left my house at, I think, 6:45 in the morning. Crazy of me. But then I went for breakfast with one of my friends, and it was so nice to catch up with her and just chit chat about all the goss and all the good things about our life. And then afterward, I decided, why not go for a little walk outside? Why not do some window shopping? I did not buy anything. I was very close to getting a tattoo. I'm not going to lie to you. I was in there flipping through the flash designs, and then I figured, wait, what am I doing? I'm not prepared to take a few days off from the gym and yada yada. I should maybe think about this, but I was very close. And before we get into the episode today, I could not wait to share this part of my Saturday with you. I just knew as soon as it happened, I wanted to get on the mic and record it and just like talk through these feelings and thoughts that I had with you because I thought it was so important. But without going into too much detail, I was on my way out the door to do my window shopping and enjoying the weather outside. And I met this lady in the elevator. She seemed very warm immediately, so I said hi to her. I mean, I say hi to everyone in the elevator, but she had a few things with her, and I offered to help take these things out to her car. And she had told me the reason why she had these things in the elevator, and she was helping out a friend, and it was just a really heartfelt story and also heartbreaking at the same time. And again, I don't want to go into too many details. I know that it may not make sense, but basically, after speaking to her and spending the next, I would say 15 minutes with her, because she was actually so kind and offered to drive me to the area that I was going to window shop in anyway. And the connection that I had with her in that moment just reminded me of the importance of life and that time is unfortunately finite and that it is crucial to appreciate what we have while we have it, because time does pass and people get older and our loved ones leave this world, and sometimes it's abruptly and you can't prepare for it, and it's just in an instant things can change in your life in a way that you maybe couldn't have imagined. So I was just taken to a moment of, wow, I need to appreciate things that I have in my life more, and the fact that I have a loving family and I have a loving support system with my friends, and that I was very fortunate enough, and I was honest with her and I said, you know what, in the story that you shared with me, thank you for being open. Like I'm so interested to hearing this, but it also reminded me that I've never actually had to think about time passing so quickly before, if that makes sense. I've been blessed enough to never have to know what it feels like to lose someone so close to me, and it was just, it made me think about my parents and think about my friends and my family and everyone around me and how much I love them and how much, wow, time does pass, and that we need to be grateful for what we have while we have it, because it's not forever. Even though I wish I could bottle up every single moment that I've I've shared with my people, and just have time not pass and have people stay in your life forever. And sorry, I'm getting emotional talking about it because it was just a really nice interaction with her. And I love when people are open to conversation and sharing parts about their life with me, but just other humans in general, because I don't know that we stop to spend time connecting that much anymore. I feel like we're in such a fast paced world, but it really moved me, and I appreciate the few minutes that I got to spend with this beautiful woman who obviously had more insight into life than I did because she was a little bit older than me. And oh, it was just, I honestly loved it. And I thought about her for the rest of the afternoon. And then I called my mom immediately after and I told her the story. And I just, said, I love you and that appreciate everything that she's done for me. And throughout the rest of my afternoon, I was sharing so many moments, sweet moments with incredible people on the street. And like, even in the tattoo shop, the woman that I spoke to, she was so kind and open and just welcoming. And I love that we can do that in moments. And honestly, I'm sure the warm weather helped with it. I feel like everyone is friendlier when it is gorgeous outside and just the sun is there, and it makes people happy and it makes people want to talk. And then I had another moment coming up from getting my groceries with a beautiful woman in the elevator, and like, just the conversation we had in that short period of time was, it's so cool that we can do that. And I think we need to connect with each other more and just remember what life is all about. And it's all about that. And just, again, appreciating every single thing that you have while you have it, because it doesn't last. Anyway, thank you for listening to that intro. I could not wait, truly, again, to share that with you. I feel like it's an important message. I hope that it sat in your heart and soul and just reminded you of the amazing things that you have around you. We are going to shift gears a little bit into what I wanted to talk about today, which was another partner to single episode. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I've been watching Sex and the City, and then also kind of talking to my friends in the dating scene. You guys know how it is. But I was asking a few of my friends and then asking myself as I'm watching this show. I understand it's a TV show, but is romance dead? And I'm gonna ask you many questions in this episode because I have written a lot down to like why I'm thinking this, and I've searched some articles up online that I'll tag in the show notes that have kind of helped feed my thought process through this. But why does romance feel so far-fetched in the real world than in the movies or like on TV shows that you see? I understand that shows and movies aren't an exact depiction of what is necessarily happening in the world, and they're often, I shouldn't say that, but what I mean is that they're often enhanced experiences and kind of that fairy tale moment that you only read about in books or see in movies. But these are still ideas threaded together by real human beings. Like, these ideas and thoughts have had to come from somebody somewhere in the world and then talking about it with other humans. So I think that means it's attainable in the same way that we write about it in books, in movies. But why does it feel different? I don't know if that's because it is more difficult nowadays to date and to maintain that type of love connection with somebody. I don't know. But why doesn't it feel the same as it does in the movies? And why does it feel less attainable? I feel like, again, I'm going to ask you many questions throughout this, and it's going to make you start to think, but it's also going to make me think as we kind of talk through this. But I think there's a question of, have we let romance die? I think that there's a part of me that understands that we have created this divide and that we're choosing to live in a world where pure romance seems less attainable. But then part of me is also questioning, why have we let it die? And also, because we've kind of done that, why then are we wooed by smaller things that people would consider the bare minimum? And I know that that's an overused term, bare minimum, but it's kind of the best way to describe this. I feel like it's few and far between that you hear about great love stories anymore, especially in real life. And I feel like you only seem to hear about them either again on the screen or in between the pages of your favorite book. And if you do see it in your real life around you, I feel as though, at least for me, I've kind of questioned, is there enough of that to go around for me? Is that still out there for me? And I feel like nowadays we're so used to minimal effort or less than the bare minimum, honestly, because I feel like we are reaching far below than we should, that those small little gestures that we get do feel so grand. They feel as though we're being courted like a gentleman would court a woman he's about to marry in Bridgerton. You know what I mean? But that's not necessarily the case. Like we're not being courted anymore. At least I don't feel like we are. I feel like in the same token, there's a part of us that is failing to ask for what we want because we maybe want to come across as being chill or the cool girl, or not asking for what we want because having those certain conversations is uncomfortable. Because I know for myself back in the day, geez Louise, I'm not old, everybody, but years ago, I remember it being so challenging to say, hey, I actually really like it when once in a while, you'd surprise me with flowers. They're my favorite thing in the world. They don't even need to be grand, but I actually do appreciate receiving them. Or, hey, I love writing sticky notes around the house for my friends. I like to leave them for the people that I have crushes on. Like, if I'm seeing somebody, I would love it if you could do something like that for me because I'm a big words of affirmation person. Or just sending me a text in the morning saying that you're thinking about me, whatever it is, or throughout the day. I always found it uncomfortable to say and ask for what you want because it's almost like you feel as though you have high expectations and that maybe you don't want to have any expectations so that you're not disappointed, or that we're maybe coming across as too picky. But why is that uncomfortable for us to have? Why can't we ask that openly? Because people can't read our minds. We should say what we want. And very likely, you say what you want, you're going to get it, at least in some regard. And sometimes then that can open up another conversation for someone to say, you know what, that is just not how I express love. This is how you express love. This is how I express love. This is how you give love. This is how I give love. And see if that can mesh in your world. You know what I mean? I think romance is dead because part of us are afraid to ask those questions and to have that conversation. I think another thing that plays a role, again, huge in our world nowadays, is social media. And I think that I've always said to you guys that social media is a positive tool if it's used in the right way. But I think a lot of the time now, especially in modern dating, social media doesn't allow you to create a genuine close connection as an in-person experience would create, if that makes sense. You have dating apps online, which kind of gives you a choice overload, which is overwhelming. And you can often create, honestly, fake connections. And I feel like it happens more often than not, unfortunately. And I feel like with social media, people think that they can find better. And so maybe that plays into a lack of effort or a lack of creativity and initiation because it's easier to hide behind a screen than it is in person. It's easier to say all of these things but not act on them because you're behind a screen. And then it's like, well, what if that mask fades? Because surely you're putting on some type of facade in some way online. You're embellishing always online because it is this highlight reel. You want to give people the best version of you, which again, I think can be very positive because it shows all of those sides of you that are so good that can come out. But it also creates that aspect of this isn't totally real. It is, I guess, in a way unattainable if it is solely online. I think that there's a side to this too in the online world where things are being more sexualized and being consumed in this online modern world too. It's a very hookup culture thing. Like a lot of the dating apps are like that. I feel like there's more surface level attraction because of that. I feel like there's definitely more lust over love. And it's kind of unfortunate because connection is what we are meant to experience. I've said this probably a gazillion times on the show here that human beings are meant to connect with one another. That is the entire point of this experience. And I think that in some way, when we're online, when we're going through all these choices of people and talking to so many people at the same time, I think that we can think that love and lust are the same thing. And obviously, it's not. They're not the same thing. And I think people feel nowadays, and maybe it's just in what I've experienced personally and what the people around me have said to me, but I feel as though people feel like they can have their cake and eat it too. That they're entitled to having this experience because it's what we're meant to have, but without any effort, without any, again, initiation. And that's honestly kind of sad. Kind of begs the question in my mind then, are we settling in some way then? Because that kind of seems you're in a relationship, let's say, maybe with someone that you kind of feel deep down that you're not totally suited with, but you see this outside world of how difficult it is for some single people. And like, even in the show that I'm watching for Sex and the City, it shows that people are struggling sometimes with modern dating, and that maybe we are allowing ourselves to be with people that aren't super fitted to us or don't perform these romantic gestures that you've always thought you would have, out of fear that, and you stay with them out of fear that there's nobody left for you, or that you maybe won't find better. I feel like people are thinking that in some way. I also want to add on to that in the dating world, I feel like romantic gestures and real love kind of aren't valued as much as they used to be. I don't know why this would be. I feel like part of it, there's so many I feels today, but really these are my thoughts that I'm having. But part of it could be that one would rather focus on oneself than putting effort into maintaining a relationship. And some of these articles that I read had some high percentages of people feeling like they would just rather focus on themselves, and that dating and focusing on other people and all the conversation that you have to have and the effort and the time that you invest into somebody else is a little bit too much, and that you'd rather just put it in yourself, which is kind of a double-edged sword because I'm such an advocate for putting yourself first, and I love that. I want to put myself first in many situations because I'm very important, and obviously I have to attend to my needs, as does everyone else. But can we not have both? Can you not have a healthy relationship with yourself and a good relationship with another human that you can also love at the same time? We can absolutely have those two coexist. We just have to know how to balance it. But I think with that balance, there needs to be understanding, compassion, and empathy. And I don't know that there is a ton of that right now, or at least a ton of awareness that people are willing to have with that. And I think that because there's not enough awareness to that people are being more selfish, that they're choosing themselves instead of having someone else alongside you also as a priority. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to then not put yourself first. No, again, they can coexist beautifully if you just find a balance that works for you. And then also know that you need to put in a little bit of work to get that back in return. I don't know. Some people I feel like could say romance is a turn off. Maybe somebody views romance and romantic gestures as cringe. Or, I remember that the word simp or that a golden retriever energy was kind of made fun of in the dating world, which I don't like because social pressure is a huge thing, especially online when thousands and thousands of people behind a screen are saying or making fun of people for having these romantic gestures and showing these acts of love because they want to love somebody and also be loved. Like, why is simp a bad thing? Why is golden retriever energy a bad thing? Isn't the point of romance to court someone that you're interested in and showing them that you're interested in by putting an effort to win them over, by showing them each and every day why you're interested and why you want to pursue something? It's so sad that social pressures, I feel, especially in men who classify themselves as lover boys, or guys who put themselves out there get made fun of for it. And I know it's not just men, but majority I feel like are men that do get made fun of for it. And even the names that people call women, and can't think of them right now, but it's just there's so much pressure. And then if society says it's weird to put yourself out there, or part of your ego is too scared to be rejected or let down if it doesn't work out, if you don't put yourself out there, then, it creates a world where no one is going after who they want, and romance as a result is failing and is not present. Which is sad, honestly. It's truly sad, because I love love. I want to love somebody so deeply because of all of the things and people that I love around me. I want to share that with somebody, And I want others to not be afraid, but I think we're afraid to ask for what we want and state, this is what I desire, because maybe we do want more than just a good morning text. Maybe we do want to be surprised with flowers coming home. Maybe we want to come home and have a home-cooked meal. Maybe we want to be thrown a surprise party because you deserve to be surprised on your birthday. I don't know. Maybe we're afraid to ask for what we want because it seems weird, because nobody's doing it anymore, and we want to quote-unquote fit in. All of those things, we talked a lot. There was a lot of questions in there. They all play a role into why romance seems unattainable. But I think the point of this pod today is to have this conversation, because the more we have this conversation, the more we question these things, the more we try to understand one another and why we're feeling this way, I think the easier it'll become to hold space for one another and have empathy. God, that's such a human emotion and experience that we need to have. And I feel like we're lacking in that. And the fear of letting another human in, if you do that, it does open up the possibility of betrayal and heartbreak. I get that. We've been through some things in our life. I understand that. And then people put up walls because it's easier to do that than to be let down again. But wouldn't love and connection and romance and all of that combined into one beautiful experience with somebody, wouldn't that be something you're willing to risk? Knowing that everything you've been through in the past, the good, the bad, the ugly, the painful, has led you to the moment that you're in right now. Knowing that you have all of the tools you need already to be secure within yourself, because you've always ended up okay. Despite that heartbreak, you're okay. You've made it through. You have these tools to, again, be secure within yourself. And that maybe if you just allow yourself to be who you are and speak your feelings and show in your actions that you want a connection with another human being, that this is all worth experiencing, even if it leads to potential heartbreak. Because there's always that what if. It may not work out. We don't know until we try, though. You know what I mean? And yes, while we can function alone, I think we're quite adept to doing that. Why wouldn't you want to experience the beauty of love and deep connection with other people? Honestly, I say, and I'm not the decider of the world here. I don't make decisions. If I had, I feel like I'd make better choices, and that we wouldn't be in the state that we're in with all of the things that we have going on in the world that are truly heartbreaking and sad. If I had to say, we'd have more love between us. But why don't we start putting ourselves out there and start being unafraid to be ourselves, unapologetically ourselves? Why don't you make yourself open to love? And if you allow yourself to be open to love and to be yourself as who you are, that you'll realize that romance is a lot closer than we realize, that those things that we want are actually a lot closer than we think. And that maybe underneath all of those layers that people have, that maybe we aren't so different at all. I don't know. These are good questions, guys. I hope that they raised some thoughts in your mind. I hope it provoked something. And I should have said this at the beginning, but of course, if something resonated with you, please take it. But if something didn't, that is so okay. You do not have to take everything that I'm saying in your heart and soul. Just whatever spoke to you, I hope that you can take that. But I would like to say that romance is not dead. I think we've just lost sight of what it truly means to connect with one another. and that I think it is attainable if we do start having honest conversations with one another and allow ourselves to be open to it. That honestly, I don't think it's weird. I think that it's beautiful. I think that it's the point of living. I think that you should be exactly who you are, and if you want to love somebody hard, love somebody hard. Show the people in your life that you love them in the way that you want to show them, in the way that you know that they love to receive it. It's not being a simp. It's not being a golden retriever. It is literally saying, hey, I love you. And I love that we're experiencing life together at the same time, because I understand time is finite and that it doesn't last forever. Beautiful. What a beautiful day. You guys, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope that your week is filled with endless opportunities of joy and love and light. I really mean that when I say that. I'm sending all of that incredible energy to you, so I hope that you feel it, and I hope that you know you're not alone in this world and that you're so deeply loved, and just keep putting yourself out there, because I promise it will all pay off and it will all work out. And I just appreciate you guys so much. I can't wait to connect with you next Monday, praying for good weather all around. I'm sending all of the good sun. We need to have the sun. We need to have this energy. 2026 is stunning. It's just going to keep being stunning. Anyways, you guys, I will talk to you next Monday. I'm so excited. Okay, I love you. Bye.